back, everybody. Police are trying to figure out why a man in his 70s opened fire inside of a ballroom dance club during Lunar New Year celebrations. And we have just learned that that death toll has now risen to 11. Police say 72-year-old Hu Can Tran shot himself inside of a van on Sunday when officers moved in to capture him. Less than 24 hours earlier, authorities say Tran killed at least 11 people inside Star Ballroom Dance Studio in Monterey Park, California. 10 others were wounded. Police think Tran might have targeted specific people that he knew, but they're still trying to put all the pieces together of this case. All of the victims were in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. Law enforcement revealed Monday that Tran visited a police station in Hemet, California recently, where he was living in a mobile home park. He wanted to report that he believed his family was poisoning him. The tragedy, though, could have been much worse because Tran left the Monterey Park dance studio and drove to nearby Alhambra, California, to another ballroom location. But when he got inside the lobby about 30 minutes before closing time, a man working there spotted him. ABC News spoke with that young man who got the gun away from the suspect before he could hurt anyone at that second location.
I needed to take this weapon, disarm him, or else everybody would have died. When I got the courage, I lunged at him with both my hands, grabbed the weapon, and we had a struggle. Finally, at one point, I was able to pull the gun away from him, shove him aside, create some distance, point the gun at him, intimidate him, shot him and say, "Get the hell out of here. I'll shoot. Get away. Go."
Brian, the shooter's dead. There's not going to be a trial. Is there any reason to continue investigating what happened here?
Yes, Jesse, because it's not about what just happened here. It's about trying to prevent what could happen in the future. You want to try to create some sort of a psychological or a profile generally for this individual to see, like you said, is it him targeting people he knew? Was he targeting the Lunar New Year because he knew that people were going to be in that area? This is a predominantly East Asian community, and he's a part of that community. They said that many of his victims would have even known him. And so they're trying to see if this is any one of the many reasons that people commit these mass shootings. But the harsh reality is this keeps happening in this country, and we're trying to figure out a way to stop this. I think this is the worst shooting since Uvalde, and we keep saying that this is the worst shooting since. So this is a way of trying to figure out how to stop having to say that over and over again. Okay, so like Brian said, Terry, about the future, if this crime was motivated by hate, what can more be done to prevent these types of shootings, these types of incidents?
Yeah, you know, I think we need to do proactive work here. We need to look at social media, see who's writing. Are there groups behind this? Can we stop it before it happens? Is he connected to anyone else? These are questions I think we need to ask before we have another mass shooting like this. I think also when we do have the suspect and he doesn't kill himself or he's not killed by a police officer, then I think if it's motivated by hate, we often really need to make sure that the punishment is as severe as it can be so that we can deter. And then obviously, I mean, it's different in other countries. You don't have these mass shootings. We do need to have more control of these guns, making sure that they're not on the street, that they're not easily purchased by people who should not have them. So background checks, you know, wait times, all of that needs to be done.
All right. Well, the city of Memphis, Tennessee was on edge Monday as the community awaits the release of video showing a black man's violent arrest. Tyree Nichols, a 29-year-old father and FedEx worker, died January 10th at the hospital 3 days after a brutal confrontation with 5 officers. Relatives say those officers beat Nichols and caused him to have a heart attack. Authorities have only said that he had a medical emergency. Lawyers for the family say relatives did have a chance to view the video themselves on Monday, but when that video might be made public is unclear. All 5 officers were fired for using excessive force. The U.S. Department of Justice has opened a civil rights investigation, and the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is also working to determine if further action needs to be taken. Police say Nichols was pulled over for reckless driving, and there was some kind of confrontation, and he ran. When the officers caught up to him, there was another confrontation, and Nichols complained of shortness of breath. An official cause of death hasn't been released. Over the weekend, a small memorial was held for Mr. Nichols.
If I say anything political, it's this: that everywhere there is justice, there's always the possibility of injustice. That's right. It's such an oxymoron, because justice is supposed to mean righteousness. But even in the best of us, there's some worst of us.